So let's see how we can do that. I'll open a new file. Okay, so I'll save this file. I'll save this, let's say just say style.css. CSS, that means a cascading style sheet. So I'll put this file under a new folder as well to be organized. I'll call it CSS. Okay. All right. I'll save the file, this file, in that folder. Then I'll save that. Okay. So we have that style sheet there. We can add as many properties as we can in this file. So let's say if you want to define color. So whenever you put a dot there, it means it's a class. So define a class color. Then I'll open and close. Let me just say heading color. It should be meaningful. Heading color. So I can define my color there. Let's say red, like we did. Okay. All right. Now, how do we use this style sheet and make changes to the front end? First, we have to call this file, which is called style.css, into our index.html file. Now, to do that, we'll go back into our head section. Into our head section, then we say link. We'll say link rel. Rel, that will be a style sheet, saying this is a style sheet. Style. It's a style sheet. Okay. Now we'll reference that style sheet by saying href. We reference where is that style sheet. Okay. So that style sheet is in CSS folder, and we named our file style.css. Okay. Now we have linked this file, this CSS file, to this file. But now, how do we use this class heading color to affect the color of one of the headings? To do that, since we already did this, the red for the first heading, I'll do the red using the third heading so that you should appreciate. So I'll call that by saying class should be equal to. Now we named our class heading color. So I'll just say here heading color. Let's see if we do that. See, simple. We have achieved the same thing but using two different routes. The first one, it was inline. The first one was inline, we just define it here. The other one, we are referencing to an external file. The beauty about reference to an external file is whenever you want to make changes, you just change once and it affects everywhere. Let's do this for you to appreciate. I'll also give this one class heading color. Heading color. Let's go to our browser and see. You see, now this is also red. Now, if you want to change all those colors, wherever there's red for those, it should go to, let's say, yellow. What I'll do using an external file, I'll just change one place here, yellow to yellow. That's it. I don't have to change anything here. I just have to change this side, since this side we are referencing to the external file. If I change that to yellow, let's see if I refresh this pattern. You see, everything has changed to yellow. So that's the beauty about using external files you reference once, and once you make a change, it will affect all the places where you call that that class. So that's the beauty about using an external file. But if it was using this, the inline one, for example, let's take this one, should be red as well. So if I want to change these to, let's say, black, that which means I have to go to each and every place I call that class, style, to say to black, and the same here to black. So what if there are 1,000 lines that has had that style? It means I have to change at 1,000 places, which is cumbersome. That's why we use the external one, so that we make changes once and it will affect a lot of places where you call that class. Okay, so we can write as many functions here, whether it's about the font size. Let's say whenever we want to increase font, we can say another class. Let's say heading size. I say, so I can say font size. So this one takes pixels. So I say font size should be, let's say, 50 px. Okay, that's a size. So whenever I call this heading size, the font size will change to 50 px. Let's say, for example, let's go here. So I'll call that class here on H5 to override the default size for H5. I'll say heading size. You see, so we override the default size by using our custom CSS. Our custom CSS will say, no, that style should be of size 50. So that's why now this one has changed to size 50. Okay. So we can write as many features as we can to this external file, but it's cumbersome. Now I want to show you a framework, the Bootstrap framework. This framework, they have simplified this work for us. They've defined a lot of classes that we have to reuse. We don't have to code all this on our own from scratch. All we need is to get to know the Bootstrap framework, and we utilize the available classes. Okay, so this is their page, their website. So this is Bootstrap. If you go to getbootstrap.com, you see this page. So we need to download this Bootstrap. So there are a number of options in the Bootstrap. So this number of options we'll go to, let's download this source, the file compiled. No, let's get the source files. Okay, so you go ahead and save that file. I've already saved this file, so I'll do cancel. So after downloading, this is the when you download, it's a zip file. You extract. After extracting, you have this folder. When you go to this folder, inside this folder you find a lot of files, but we're interested in these two files, the CSS and JS. In the CSS, we're looking for this file. This is a minify. There's a lot of version of Below. That's fine. Need just to plug it somewhere. Okay, but we are interested in getting the bootstrap.css file. So I'll copy this file. I'll copy it to our school website. So I'll put it under CSS as well. under CSS. Okay. And I'll also create another folder JS so that it should hold our Bootstrap JS files. Okay, let me just plug this on power before it goes off. All right. Yep, and we're good to go. So I will name this file do.js. Now I'll go back to that the Bootstrap I downloaded to the JS folder and get the bootstrap.js. Then I'll place that. Yeah, I'll paste that. Now, let me just go back to the Get Bootstrap website. If you go to this website, you have a lot. There's a lot of documentation on how you can do things. I'll quickly just go to components and show you. I'll show you beautiful things that Bootstrap has to offer. You can look at those colors. Those things we're defining about color, whatnot. They already defined those classes. We just have to call those classes. That's about alerts. If you want to issue an alert, we have the badge. So that's how a badge looks like. So those classes, we just have to recall that class. We have breadcrumbs. Breadcrumb, if you see on some website, they show you now you're on this page, we are home, right now you're on data. So that's what's called breadcrumbs. You just have to call these classes. So everything that you can think of, they have already defined. We just have to call those classes. If you look at buttons, we have beautiful buttons there with some color already defined. There's this feature I love too much. It's called a card. So this is how a card looks like. You can put images in a card, a title, and whatnot. So take time, go through this getbootstrap.com website to check out the components about Bootstrap. So I'll take you through how the Bootstrap examples, the tags in Bootstrap, the classes that we can use to pimp our website. Because this website is ugly, man. Look at this. It's not organized. It's looking like a standard one project. We have to give some love to this website a little bit. So now, we just have to call those classes. I'll go to my index.html. The same way we refer to our style.css class, we have to do the same to refer to our Bootstrap CSS style sheet. So I'll say link, bro. Then I'll say style sheet. Then I'll say href. Then I'll say it's in CSS folder. The name of the file is bootstrap.css. Alright. For now, let's just use the CSS class. We have just called it. We haven't utilized the classes, but by the fact of just calling the classes, you have seen the headings have changed. They have adapted to the Bootstrap, definition of the headings. Let's go to the Bootstrap file and appreciate what's in there. Okay. You see, they've defined all these classes. This is open source, so you can use it however you can. So all those classes I've defined here, the HTML that we're defining, the font family, the body, everything to affect the body, the HRU, the H1 tags, you see, those that we're defining there, they're already defined here, the paragraph, the P. If you can scroll down, there are a lot of things, the image, the IMG. There are a lot of classes that are already defined. All we need to do is call these classes to make our website look beautiful. So now let's utilize these classes to make our website beautiful. First of all, before we call the classes, let me just give a brief about Bootstrap. Bootstrap uses what is called a grid system. A grid system means the Bootstrap takes like this whole screen to be another container. So this container, in this container, you can have rows. A row is anything from this side to this side to the other end. To the other end, it's a row. And each row is divided into 12 columns. So 12 columns, that means one column we can divide. So if the 12 columns is from this side, from this end to this end, it's 12 columns. For you to appreciate, let's utilize the Bootstrap classes for you to appreciate. Theory doesn't work sometimes. So come here. I say the face is a container. Let's put this in a container. If you can see these things, they're hugging the margins too much. It's not looking nice. Let's put them in a container. They should look nice. So I'll define the class container there. Then I have to close that div. You open that div, division, div for division, you also close it. So here I'll say class container. So this is the class that is already defined in the Bootstrap CSS. We don't have to write the CSS on our own. It's already been done. We just have to reuse. If I can copy that and search here, let me just search for you to appreciate. I'll search for, you see, this container, they have defined container here by saying it has to take the 100% width, but there have to be some padding to the left by 15px and to the right by 15px, so that those things that shouldn't be hugging the walls, the margins, you see. So that's what the container is doing. Let me go back. So now, for this to look beautiful, we have to put everything under our container. Let's just, whatever we wrote, let's just grab them and put them under our Control X cut, then Control V for paste. Then I'll indent a little bit. It should be looking nice. I'll save. I'll put whatever we wrote under container. Let me refresh for you to appreciate. You see, by simply putting this under the container, this has changed. It's no longer hugging the margin. At least now we're making progress. This is a little bit better, but still far from achieving what we want. But at least we're moving in the positive direction. So that's what a container do. It gives a margin there of 15px to the right and 15px to the left. But we said Bootstrap, after the container, you can define the row. So Bootstrap defines the row from this end to that end. So within our container, let's define the row so that all our things should be under the row, under the column. So under the container, I'll define another class. So that's class. Remember, Bootstrap is all about classes. So say close div. Then that class will be class law. Okay. After row, the first element in the class law is what we call the column. So I'll define by column there, but we'll say class. I'll close that div. So for column, we just say COL for column. Then we tell it LG for light screens. Tell it whenever it's on a light screen, how many columns should it take. For now, I'll just say 12. In future, we'll define other classes like small screens, smallest screens, extra small screens, how we'll go about it. But for now, I'll just say 12. So that means this column will span the whole row. From if you can go to our browser, we'll take from this end to that end. So now, let's put our h1 tag that we defined in that column. Let's refresh. Now this has gone under that row, so that means this is under, it has spanned the whole 12 columns, but since the words are small, that's why it can go the other side. But now we can just play a little bit with it. We can just center it, maybe to look nice. So for us to center it, we just have to say, instead of defining this class, the text black, whatnot. We can remove this. We no longer need this. Bootstrap will do all the work for us. I'll just define the class within that tag, and I'll say this should be text center. But just saying text center using that class, and that class is already defined. We don't have to define it. It will move all the text to the center of that 12 columns. I'll save, and let's go back to here. You see, so Bootstrap has already done this for us. Let's appreciate that what class center is doing. I'll go back to our bootstrap.css. You see, that's what class center is doing. So they already defined this. So in actual sense, without Bootstrap, we are supposed to write this on our own. So these guys were like, no. We shouldn't be spending much time doing this. Let's just do a framework that people can reuse, and they concentrate on the bigger picture, on the logic of the website and other things. But the UR, the user interface, we should take care of it, all the stuff. So they did a good job. If you have time, donate. You never go wrong. To these guys, to Bootstrap guys. All right. So let's go back. So that's text center. So everything has to be under row or a column. So for now, we don't need all these other headings. They're just not looking nice. We can just remove those. Let's just remove those from H1, H6. But I know you know now the concept about H1 to H6. Okay. Now our text has gone a little bit up there. But now we also want this text to be side by side. One paragraph this side. The first paragraph maybe should take up to 6 columns, and the other one should take the other 6 columns. So you should appreciate about how you can divide the columns. To do that, I'll go back to, I'll define another row. So that row is gone. I'll define another row. So I'll say div class close div. So this will take up row. So I've now defined another class for the columns now. So I'll say, I'll close that div as well. Once you open, you have to close before you forget. So I'll say this will take on a large screen, it should take 6 columns. Okay, I'll just copy the same and put it here. So under one row, the maximum number of columns they can be is 12. So if you can add 6 plus 6 is 12. The same here, it took all the columns, 12 columns. So we can divide even 2, but the total should be 12 columns under one row. So now let's take these paragraphs and put them under those columns, the 6 columns. I'll put the first one there. Let me just indent a little bit so that should be looking smart. Then I'll grab the other one as well. And I'll paste it there. Let me just indent it as well. Okay. I'll save that. Let's see what this will do to our website. You see? Now this one has demarcated these into 6 equal columns. The first, this paragraph has taken 6 columns at the right side, and this one 6 columns at the left side. So that's how you can demarcate columns. You can even demarcate into smaller columns, 4 columns, whatnot, whatever you can. But that's how you do it. Okay. Yeah. So that's it about the columns. Now let me show you one class that you can use within Bootstrap just to give a little bit of life to your website. It's called Jumbotron. Let's light a Jumbotron class. Let me just go back and see where I can put this Jumbotron. Let me just put the Jumbotron before the welcome to Visual School so that it should demarcate up there with the content down there. So this I can do before that container. I will say div class. So just close that div. So that's got Jumbo. Jumbotron. Okay, I'll say that. Let me just space a little bit so we should know this is something different. So if I go back to the website and refresh, boom, there's something there. That's Jumbotron. So Jumbotron has taken all the shapes. It's outside the container from this end to this end. So some websites, they demarcate the content by using some Jumbotron. You've seen that before, and you can put some content even within the Jumbotron. But this has come without defining anything. We have just called the Jumbotron class. Let's appreciate that Jumbotron class. So I'll copy and go to bootstrap.css, and so that's what Jumbotron, that's how they define Jumbotron. The padding, the margin, the background color. We're looking at this color when we go to the gray color. So that's the hexa of the gray color. If we can exchange this with other color codes, I'll just Control X. I'll replace this. Let's say black. I know black is 3 zeros. I'll do that. Bang. Our Jumbotron is black now. But let's go back. I'll replace that color. Control Z, Control Z, Control 7. Okay. So that's it. That's it for, I think, for today. We should leave it. Should leave it at this point before we confuse you. So I think the next time, part 3, we'll look at how we can put a navigation bar there. It has the menu, let's say home, about us, about the school, contact, so it will come before the Jumbotron on top there. I think that's the next chapter that we'll cover. We will also cover how we can put the sliding images on our school website and the like. And we might even change this content and put the actual content that's meaningful. But for now, let's just leave this. Yep, that's it. If you have any questions or you're struggling somewhere, you're failing to come up with your website the way we have done here, just drop a comment. I'll take you through step by step so that you should have your layout looking like this. For us to move together, you have to be doing this practice, not just watch the video without practice. You can pause the video, try it, so that we move together. Then whenever we are adding advanced stuff, you'll be able to cope up easily. But remember to go check out getbootstrap.com for the documentation of Bootstrap. So for today, that's it. See you in part 3.